So recently I've been getting a little bit more into Linocut or lino printing, and I've done a few smaller plates with bugs and teeth and some soft cut with mushrooms. Did some prints with that. While I was cleaning my workshop a few days ago, I found my very first Linocut that I've ever made. And I did this about 4 or 5 years ago, and I wasn't really happy with my result. I gave up on the idea on Linocut, but recently I've discovered it again. I thought that I had thrown away the original printing block, but as I now found it, I am interested in trying a technique. It's a reduction cut, where you lose the actual plate while printing, while cutting. And my idea now would be to make a 2-color print version, because having this only in black and white is quite boring. I was not satisfied, and I have tried a multiple color print like this. So I first did the whole plate with the teeth and the dots in full white or grayish white. Then I recut the plate and only did the red dots. And after that I cut away the dots, made the exact outlines and printed the black outlines. So same plate, 3 times printing, and yeah, this was my result, and I'm quite happy with working with multiple colors. And I'm going to try the same with this one. So the first thing I'm going to do is take away the border, because I think the border makes it very stiff. And then I want to print the bone with the texture in this grayish white, and a second layer of printing with only the outlines of the bone in black. So come with me and let's see what the result will be like. So these are my cutting tools. It's a very simple standard beginner set, and so far it has worked for everything I wanted to do with it. So you get different tips to choose from. You take the tip you want to work with and you just put it in the handle. If you don't want it, use it anymore or change it, you have this little wood thingy, plop it out, and you can use another tip. It's quite handy. Also that the handle is very well rounded. It's very cozy. When you sharpen these bits once in a while or hone it, they work quite well, even if the set is not that expensive. So you don't have to buy very expensive material. So like I said, the first thing I'm going to do is take away all the framework and also make these cuts a little bit deeper, because I remember that I had some of these were too high, and I had not only structure in my bones but also outside of my bone when I was printing. I'm not going to film everything while cutting, because the process is very straightforward, and also while cutting I think I want to concentrate on my cutting and not on the filming so much. So here are a few minutes at the beginning, and the rest I'm going to do off camera. So I'll see you in the next stage for preparing the paper and printing the first layer. Oh, one thing I wanted to tell you, and I think every Linocut video is going to tell you that when you do some lino cutting, try to always cut away from yourself. It is so easy to just slip and then stick the sharp tool into your finger, your hand, your palm, whatever. So if you can avoid it, please, please, please try to always cut away from yourself. The danger is, funny enough, lower when your tools are very, very sharp, because the chance that you're going to slip is a little bit lower. The only lesson to take from this video is keep your hands safe and watch what you're doing while you're cutting, because these tools are still a little bit dangerous. Yeah. So after all the cutting, my plate is looking like this. I went a little bit too deep there, so you can see this weaving from the back, but it's still okay, it's stable, it's good, it's not a hole, it's not important anyway. I've just left the femur like I planned and also all the texture. And this is the part which I will cover in grayish white and then print, and afterwards I will cut out this detail as well and reprint with black over the grayish white print to just get the outlines. So I have prepared a stack of watercolor paper. I just took a huge DIN A2 sheet. I made the measurements on how I wanted it to be from the size, more or less. And it's 16 centimeters on 11.5 centimeters. And I just have a stack of these. I don't have a specific number. I just wanted to use one sheet. I still had a little bit spare paper. Because this is going to be a print with 2 colors, the next step is really important. Because otherwise you will not get a good color alignment. Now just take a random piece of white paper, or however you want to do this. This is just my way. I'm just taping it down to my cutting plate because I'm going to print on this. I mean, you don't really need to tape it down, but I think it is easier if the paper where I make my measurements is fixed on some sort of surface. You can also just tape it down to your desk. The cutting plate is not necessary, it's just what I have here right now. I take one sheet of my papers, which I want to print on. I put it on this one, and I just go around the outsides of this paper so that I know how big my paper actually is. It's not 100% necessary that it's 100% straight. The only bit that is important is, at least for me, with how I work, the front, so that this is exact, that you know where to put down your paper. Voila! See, I slipped there a little bit. That's not important, as long as the corners are well marked and the first line is straight. Now I take my image, or my cutting plate, which will be my image, and I put it on the paper the way I want it to be aligned on the print. Now, I'm not going to put it straight in the middle, because I think for the composition it is better if I slip it a little bit to the right, maybe a little bit down as well, so that I get a little bit more air up here and down here. And we do the same. So we know where to put down our plate. For this one, it is a little bit more important that you really get the form of your plate. It's kind of sad that I lost a little bit of material up there, because it's easier when you have straight edges. But well, can't have everything. So, we have the paper and we have the plate position. So now what you would do when you print, you put down your plate and you always try to put it down the same way you did from the first print on. So you put it down and you do the same thing each time. You put your color on it. Then you take your paper, you align your paper with that first line and really try to always align it in the same way, and you drop it down and print. And this is the process you have to do for each paper, for each print. And this gives you a chance that your colors will be aligned the way they should be. There is a more professional way to do this by by really registering your paper. So you would have your paper and you would put another piece of paper on the back, and you would put like one paper here, one paper there. You make holes in it, and then you make a contraption where you can really fix your paper in these holes, and also have, for example, a form where you can put your plate inside. But that's already a real professional way. This is the fastest and easiest method. Well, if you don't have a big studio, if you just want to try it or wanted to get started with printing, this is the easiest way. The only thing is, with this method, it can be that your printing slips up a little bit. I've noted it on my teeth. They are also not all exact, but from 15 prints I've made, I had 8 prints which were perfectly aligned with this method. So the other ones, either you say it's okay if it slips up a little bit because it looks nice, or you just take them out of the series and you don't number them, and they are, well, lost prints. Now let's get to printing. So here's my whole setup. You need to have a plate, preferably a glass plate, to put your colors on and roll them out. Just buy a cheap frame and just take the glass out of the frame. Then you need a roll to put the color on your print. Colors. The first one I'm going to do is a mix of white and a tiny little bit of black to make it grayish. I'm gonna mix it on this, roll it out, and then put it onto my print. So you really don't need a lot of material to do this. So after you put your color onto the roll, you just try to gently put it down on your cut. And I try to not touch any parts that I really don't want to have color on, because it's so easy to color in weird spots on the outside, which you then will print as well. Which sometimes is a good thing, because you want this handmade look. So there can be happy accidents that really look nice on a print, but maybe try to avoid it and just let some natural accidents happen by its own. So with printing, it's always good to have one spare piece of paper. This one is not the real size. It was left over from cutting, and just make one print first. It doesn't matter with the alignment and stuff, just because the color is not sticking that well at the first print, and the more you print, the better the color sticks. So make 1 or 2 prints at the beginning, and then you make the original ones. So this one I don't have to watch the alignment, it's just to get a feel. What I also like to do, because I don't have anything to push or rub my print, I don't have a press, anything, I found out that people use the back of wooden cooking spoons. I use the handle of my carving tools to rub the print onto the paper. And I found out that this works quite well. It's a tool that I already have, so you don't need to buy anything fancy for this. If you have a press, that's wonderful. But I think then you would also register your paper and work a little bit more professional than I do here. And just try to get everything. And you lift it up. And you see, like I said, the first print doesn't get all the color you need. So, off to the first good print we go. Now this is going to be a long and either boring or, well, calming process. It depends on how you see it. It's very repetitive. You can even say you can meditate while doing this. You just roll on the color onto your roller, put it onto your design or your plate, print and repeat. For this one, check the alignment on the paper and drop it down. Once it's down, don't move it. It's down, it's touched the cutting plate, it's touched the color. If you move it now in any way, your print will be ruined. So just keep it fixed and push down with your wooden spoon, your handle, whatever you want to use to push. And just rub. And take care that you don't slip, so don't do this too hasty. Lift it up. And we have a great print. So I'm going to continue this throughout my whole batch, and I'm going to show you the result at the end, how many I have. And please, at each print, check if your plate is still well aligned. And yeah, see you when I'm done. So this is the first round of prints, and now we wait for them to dry. So I've let them dry overnight. I don't know if you need to wait that long. It's just something that's worked for me so far, to just do one color the one day, the next color the other day. Depending on your inks or colors that you have, you might have a longer drying time or shorter drying time. Also how much ink or color you put on the plate. Maybe if you're lucky you can make the print in the morning and make the second layer already in the evening. So we are going to do the same thing we did yesterday, but with the black. Oh yeah, but before we can print, we have to cut out everything that is in here. And I saw on the print that these things are a little bit too high as well. They print little white grayish dots. So going to cut out this, a little bit of here, and this whole texture, so that only the black outline is going to be left. And again, I'm not going to show you everything I'm cutting because it's a straightforward process, and I concentrate way better when the camera is not running while I'm cutting. So see you when the plate is finished and when we start printing. So now that was the test print, and now let's go for the first real print. Just take care when you do something like that, that you don't smudge the rest of your plate, because everywhere there's ink, it's going to come onto your paper somehow. I don't know why always. Also, I have noticed that the consistency of my black color is a little bit different than the one of my white or grayish color, although it is the same brand of lino printing color. So I don't know why this is. But anyway, here it goes. Let's align this up. Might be tricky to get it right like the last time. And maybe we are going to lose some of the grayish prints due to lack of print alignment, but that's going to be okay. If at least 3 prints or 4 prints come out good, I will be happy. Here's hoping. Let's lift it up. And it kind of worked. But you see, this is what I mean. My black color somehow stuck differently on the plate than my white. I'm thinking about mixing in a little bit of white color into my black just to see if it behaves differently. And also the black might be a little bit too much. So let's see what we can do. Let's just try to clean up the plate a little bit like this. I don't mind if the grayish color is a little bit different each time, because I really don't want to wet my plate right now. So here's the color I have mixed together now. Let's see if we can get this on the plate. Already I think it has a different consistency on my roll. Hopefully this will work how I imagine it to go. Take a little bit of extra color because I'm picking up some black from before. I mean, this is in no way professional what I'm doing. This is just a beginner playing around with fun stuff. But I guess that's the exciting part, playing around with stuff. Just seeing what happens with how little. Put down our paper. And lift it up. Ooh, the alignment was way off on this one. And it's still doing that little sticky thing, but not as bad as the other one. So if this, I could live with this texture and color, but it really needs to get onto the right spot. I mean, it's not bad if you like this aesthetic, it's obviously okay, but the main goal would be to have it totally aligned with the rest. So I'm just going to continue this over the other 10 pieces I have left, and in the end we will see the result, how they came out, which one went good and which one are, well, lost prints, let's say. See you later. So here's the finished outcome, all ready to get dry. This was the first one with the all black color, with the very blotchiness of the ink. And then we have the last one. Sadly, I slipped a little bit on the alignment with this one. And also the color is still a little bit blotchy, but some of them have gotten very, very nice. For example, this one. I think this one went pretty well. The alignment is perfect, and I also like the color. There are a few blotches, but I think they are in that range where you say makes the style of a Linocut like happy accidents. I have 2 where I had a little bit of dirt on the plate. Oh, this one as well, so 3. And one with a really big spot up there where I rolled too far with my ink roller and I didn't notice. So it is a really nice print, this one, but I just have to accept that there is a dot. So either I put some white color on it or I leave it in there and say, yeah, that's the handmade stuff. So I'm going to let them dry and look at them again tomorrow. Then I'm going to select which one I take up in the series. Then I'm going to number them from 1 to 6 or how many I choose. And for the other ones that aren't perfect enough or good enough for the series, I think I'm going to make like second choice prints. So I have the series that went well, which I'm going to sell on conventions, or you can also write me, ask me if you're interested in one print. And the other ones, they are, well, either cheaper or if somebody buys an artwork of mine and I send it to them, I sometimes like to add a little print as a thank you. So I usually keep the ones that don't make it into the series. You just have to put a little note on it that it's not part of the original series. Yeah. I hope you liked this little video and that I will see you next time again. Bye!